actually was excited to get here this morning just because if you guys haven't read this book, you need to get on there. And good morning, everybody that's on there. I think everybody's able to jump in. Just real quick so everybody kind of has an idea of what's happening. We're doing 10 minutes of reading. I've been reading books for a very, very long time, and it's just life-changing. Last night I was reading this book. I would encourage you guys to also pick this one up. If you guys don't have books, just ask me for them. I'll let you borrow them. But this is a huge one too. 48 Laws of Power teaches you how to stay quiet more than actually talk. So I'm going to get into reading unless anybody wants to volunteer. When the opportunity came, it appeared in different form and from a different direction than Barnes had expected. That is one of the tricks of opportunity. It has a slight habit of slipping in by the back door and often comes disguised in the form of misfortune or temporary defeat. Perhaps this is why so many fail to recognize opportunity. Mr. Edison had just perfected a new office device known at that time as the Edison dictating machine. His salesmen were not enthusiastic over the machine. They did not believe it could be sold without great effort. Barnes saw his opportunity. It had crawled in quietly, hidden in a queer-looking machine which interested no one but Barnes and the inventor. Barnes knew he could sell the Edison dictating machine. He suggested this to Edison and promptly got his chance. He did sell the machine. In fact, he sold it so successfully that Edison gave him a contract to distribute and market it all over the nation. Out of that business association, Barnes made himself rich in money, but he did something infinitely greater. He proved that one really may think and grow rich. How much actual cash that originally desire of Barnes was worth to him, I have no way of knowing. Perhaps it brought him $2 or $3 million, but the amount, whatever it is, becomes insignificant when it is compared with the greater asset he acquired in the form of definite knowledge that an intangible impulse of thought can be transmuted into material rewards by the application of known principles. Barnes literally thought himself into a partnership with the great Edison. He thought himself into a fortune. He had nothing to start with except the capacity to know what he wanted and determination to stand by that desire until he realized it. So this is a big one right here. And I remember reading this part like 2 years back. 3 feet from gold. One of the most common causes of failure is the habit of quitting when one is overtaken by temporary defeat. Every person is guilty of this mistake at one time or another. An uncle of R.U. Darby was caught by the gold fever in a gold rush days and went west to dig and grow rich. He had never heard that more gold has been mined from the thoughts of men than has ever been taken from the actual earth. He staked a claim and went to work with a pick and shovel. After weeks of labor, he was rewarded by the discovery of a shining ore. He needed machinery to bring the ore to the surface. Quietly, he covered up the mine, retraced his footsteps to his home in Williamsburg, Maryland, told his relatives and his few neighbors of the strike. They got together some money for the needed machinery and had it shipped. The uncle and Darby went back to work at the mine. The first car of ore was mined and shipped to a smelter. The returns proved that they had one of the richest mines in Colorado. A few more cars of that ore would clear the depths. Then would come the big killing and profits. Down went the drills. Up went the hopes of Darby and uncle. Then something happened. The vein of gold ore disappeared. They had come to the end of the rainbow and the pot of gold was no longer there. They drilled on desperately, trying to pick up the vein again, all to no avail. Finally, they decided to quit. They sold the machinery to a junkman for a few $100s and took the train back home. The junkman called in a mining engineer to look at the mine and do a little calculating. The engineer advised that the project had failed because the owners were not familiar with fault lines. His calculations showed the vein would be found just 3 feet from where Darby's had stopped drilling. That is exactly where it was found. The junk man took millions of dollars in ore from the mine because he knew enough to seek expert counsel before giving up. So here's the key. I will never stop because somebody says no. Long after Mr. Darby recouped his loss many times over when he made the discovery that desire can be transmuted into gold, the discovery came after he went into business of selling life insurance, remembering that the loss of huge fortune because he stopped 3 feet away from gold. Darby profited by the experience in his chosen work by the simple method of saying to himself, I stopped 3 feet from gold, but I never stop because men say no when I asked them to buy some insurance. Darby became one of a small group of men who sell over $1 million in life insurance annually. He owed his stickability to the lesson he learned from his quitability in the gold mining business. Therefore, success comes in a man's life. He is sure to meet with much temporary defeat and perhaps some failure. When defeat overtakes a man, the easiest and the most logical thing to do is quit. That is exactly what the majority of people do. More than 500 of the most successful men this country has ever known told the author their greatest success came just one step beyond the point at which defeat had overtaken them. Failure is stricter with a keen sense of irony and cunning. It takes great delight in tripping one when success is almost within reach. A 50-cent lesson in persistence is the next part. Shortly after Mr. Darby received his degree from the University of Hard Knocks, is that a real university? Yeah,
just a sheet.
Yeah. I'm like, hey, I want to go there too, man. I want to know where Hard Knocks is at. I usually say University of YouTube, but University of Hard Knocks would also work. And had decided to profit by his experience in the gold mining business. He had the good fortune to be present on an occasion that proved to him, and could somebody stop me at 8:42 because I will go on. No does not necessarily mean no. One afternoon, he was helping his uncle grind wheat in an old-fashioned mill. The uncle operated a large farm on which a number of colored sharecrop farmers lived. Quietly, the door was opened and a small colored child, the daughter of a tenant, walked in and took her place near the door. The uncle looked up, saw the child, and barked at her roughly. What do you mean? Meekly, the child replied. My mommy said, send her 50 cents. That's weird. I don't remember this. I'll not do it, the uncle retorted. Now you run home. Yes, sir, the child replied. Yes, sir, the child replied, but she did not move. The uncle went ahead with his work, so busily engaged that he did not pay enough attention to the child to observe that she did not leave. When he looked up and saw her still standing there, he yelled at her, I told you to go home now, or I'll take a switch to you. The little girl said, yes, sir, but she did not budge. The uncle dropped a sack of grain he was about to pour into the mill hopper, picked up a barrel stave, and started towards the child with an expression on his face that indicated trouble. Darby held his breath. He was certain he was about to witness an assault. He knew his uncle had a fierce temper. When the uncle reached the spot where the child was standing, she quickly stepped forward one step, looked him in the eyes, and screamed at the top of her shrill voice, my mommy's gotta have those 50 cents. The uncle stopped, looked at her for a minute, and slowly laid the barrel stave on the floor, put his hand in his pocket, took out $50, and gave it to her. The child took the money and slowly backed toward the door, never taking her eyes off the man who she had just conquered. After she had gone, the uncle sat down on a box and looked out the window into space for more than 10 minutes. He was pondering with awe over the whipping he had just taken. It's 40? Okay.
42.
42.
You got 2 more minutes.
Right, 2 more minutes. Mr. Darby, too, was doing some thinking. That was the first time in all his experience that he had seen a colored child deliberately master an adult white person. How does she do it? What happened to his uncle that caused him to lose his fierceness and become as docile as a lamb? What strange power did this child use that made her master of the situation? These and other similar questions flashed into Darby's mind, but he did not find the answers until years later when he told me the story. Strangely, the story of this unusual experience was told to the author of The Old Mill on the very spot where the uncle took his whipping. Anyway, so that's pretty much it. All right, the next 10 minutes, just so that for the people that are brand new to this, we're going to talk about market, the current real estate market. And this is for you guys to open up and ask me a bunch of questions that you guys have, things that you guys have been experiencing. Right now, the one topic that I wanted to discuss is, I know a lot of people are still acting within fear. Like a lot of people that I'm talking to, I would say 80% of the people that I'm calling and actively prospecting right now are still slapping me in the face with the, I want to wait until the COVID-19 thing is over. Are you, anybody of you guys experiencing it? Yeah. All right, so this is what I'm doing. If you guys are utilizing your CRM the way you should be, I'm hashtagging COVID-19. Because the reality is that I'm going to call all those clients bluff the minute that they're done. I'm like, hey, by the way, we spoke. You said after COVID-19, you were going to make a conscious decision to make a purchase. Does that make sense? I've even gotten to the point where I've taken people to look at homes. I've been in escrow with people. People have canceled. People have started like kind of ghosting me over showing them homes, but I'm still there reliable putting COVID-19 hashtag, because what I'm going to do the minute that these restrictions are lifted completely, I'm going to be like, hey, remember you said, because I'm sure they're going to go back to their purchase. Does that make any sense to you guys? So I don't know if anybody wants to talk about that real quick before I move on to the next topic of what you guys are going through with those. Because I had a client that was in escrow and we were like fully in escrow, everything was approved. And she was actually in the medical field, and she says, I want to stop the purchase because I feel like I'm going to die. And I'm like, what? So people are really struggling with it. Yeah.
What should we tell clients that are like really set on like waiting, that they're really confident that the prices of houses are going to go down? Like, is there anything?
Yes. So this is what I'm telling all my clients, because yesterday I was at a showing and I was there talking to the buyer, and I ask a lot of questions, you know, and I ask a lot of obvious questions just because I want them to know that I know their concerns. I know their concerns. I know a buyer's going to an actual house right now, and I know a buyer's thinking, damn, what if this market takes a complete crash on me? I'm buying right now, and it takes a dump. I could have saved money. I could have done a bunch of other things and then waited for a lower purchase price. So one thing that I'm mentioning all the way up from the beginning, if you have the ability to qualify for a lower down payment, take advantage of that. Because the reality is that I'm also representing tenants, and these tenants are having to come in out of pocket first month, last month, and deposit. So you do the math, 3,500 times 3. Just do that math real quick. How much is that? That's almost $11,000. Let's say 10,500, something around there. I can't see myself, Edward. You blocked my head from me. There you go. Thank you very much. I greatly appreciate it. So what I'm saying is that that's number one. Try to, if these people, because see, the other thing that you guys are going to learn right now, most of the people that are coming into the marketplace right now are people that are very serious buyers. Like I'm talking about people with deep pockets. Like I want to show you guys a gentleman that I walked with yesterday. This was very random follow-up call, and he says to me, my agent, and I'm not going to say any names because she works the area. I called her, I sent her a property. I sent her the property, and she told me, it's going to be very tough to show you the property because of COVID-19. Plus, the banking guidelines are changing. You might not qualify. And you know what he showed me? And I'll show it to you guys, and I'll show it to the group. It's crazy to me. I'm like tripping out because I'm like, man, let me into a meeting. Can you check? I think somebody's trying to get into the meeting.
Absolutely.
Watch, you guys are going to trip out right now. I mean, to me, maybe just to me, it's a lot of money. But if I had that type of money in my bank account, this is what he sent me. And his agent said that he needs to wait after COVID-19. So there's 446,000 in one of those bank accounts.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So really ready.
So the people that are, just so you guys could see it, this is what the client sent me yesterday. And that's $446,000, $7,000, $14,000, and $45. The point is that the people that are serious about buying homes right now are coming out right now. So number one, that's what I tell them. Number two, if anybody of you guys were representing buyers during 2 months ago, exactly 2 months ago, if you were representing any type of client and you would go submit an offer, you were submitting an offer and competing at least with 10 other offers. And you were competing with people that were like, they did not care. They were just highly motivated to purchase a home. Guess what? That's all changed. So now you're not competing with 10 offers. Now you're lucky if you have one or two, or even if there's any offers on the property because of fear. So this is something that I would break down to customers. Right now is a time for you to find a good opportunity. So what's going to happen the minute that they start to flock the marketplace all over again? We're going to go back to 10 offers. The reality, and this is what I tell the consumer all the time, we are still in a shortage of housing. Have you guys, when you guys got here to the office, if you guys are coming from that area, do you guys see all the homeless people in the freeways? I know some of them have drug addictions and all that stuff, but the reality of stuff is that 4,000 people are still going to sleep without a roof over their head, which means that they're now sheltering in place in other people's places. So this is what I'm telling people, because, and there's another thing, I hear that all the time. The crash of 2008, the crash of 2008, it's going to be worse. People are expecting for these homes to drop to 200, 250, 300, 350. Based on inflation, it can't happen. And number two, the big difference from that economy to this economy is the fact that last time people were not properly qualifying for mortgages. Ask David, how difficult is it to really qualify for a mortgage right now? It's like pulling teeth. They want to know everything short of your blood type. Like these guys want to know your financials and all that stuff. So when you're out there, and another thing that really helps, this is the reason why I selected Think and Grow Rich again. In this part of the book, he's talking about him being the way, he's talking about he was in a business venture where they invested hundreds of thousands of dollars. He was 3 feet away from gold. You know what I'm saying? He gave up 3 feet away from being from gold. So this is what I'm telling people. If you qualify right now, you're in that 20% of people that actually qualify right now. Why would you not take advantage of that? And then going back to the small down payment, if this all takes a dump, I'd rather be in a position where I'm a owner of a property than a tenant. Because in a tenant, I'll get evicted. Obviously not right now because of COVID-19, but I'm saying if it's an economic collapse, I'm going to get evicted because I have to pay that rent. If I'm the homeowner of the property, you know, homeowners get all type of special rights. Like it literally, they can't kick you out 60 days after they do the file of eviction and all that stuff. If you're a homeowner, this process, I see people put their property in like trust. Like during the last time, I knew people that were like 3-4 years without making a mortgage payment just because they kept taking advantage of the products that were out there for people. So that's what I always tell people. I'm like, look, this is a long-term thing. If people are looking to make a quick return on real estate, they probably shouldn't be buying real estate to live in it. They probably should be buying real estate where it looks crappy, buy it, fix it, and then flip it. Does that make sense to you guys? So that's what I would be telling them. And then the last thing is that your energy is very important. If you show up like this gentleman, he says, man, my agent had already given up before I did. He says, I get it. I'm running a big risk by dropping all this money into the house, but I don't need my agent to tell me that. I'm going to make that conscious decision. You know what I mean? I'm the one. And Abraham just experienced somebody too. He called one of the persons on the lead and tell me why this guy has $200,000 that he's all like, I need to spend that money right now. And I'm thinking to myself, you really want to spend $200,000? But the reality is that if you guys don't put the consumer into a property, and this is what I keep coaching everybody on, somebody else will. Like for example, this client, all it took is for some sharp guy to come in and realize that, hey man, this guy has $500,000. He wants to buy something, and I'm going to put him in there while his agent is over there falling asleep thinking COVID-19. And here's the reality of stuff. They're starting to ease the restrictions. I would and this is why we made the decision of like, let's start going back into our daily game plan, because I do not want to arrive to May 15th and we're barely getting to where we need to be at. I want to be May 15th thinking like, hey, my schedule is already up to par. I'm waking up early again. I'm showing up on time. I'm getting every single day, getting dressed up, feeling good about myself, and I'm contacting the consumer. Like I said yesterday, all the people that have been telling you that they're waiting for the prices to drop, the prices have already dropped. You could find yourself a $500,000 home. 3 months ago, you couldn't find yourself a $500,000 home. Does that make any sense to you guys?
Yes.
So as far as market, what time is it? Just because I want to.
8:50.
8:50 already. Okay, perfect. So this is the third part of this is How many of you guys are, and be real with yourself, how many of you guys are literally practicing scripts every single day?
I just do the buyer's script most of the time.
Okay, cool. And that's what I was going to discuss today. I want you to have a predetermined time of when you are going through the script. And we'll get back to it because we will all get back to it together. You know what I mean? This is the one thing that I tell customers. Like, if you think you're the one that's going through something, it's not just you. It's everybody in the world is going through what's happening right now. Does that make any sense? But at the same time, I want you guys to be very alert that you guys need to develop a system. That's why yesterday in the Game Changer class, I was explaining to you guys that the most successful companies are the companies that are able to do something repeatedly and then get the exact same result over and over again. So you guys need to commit to the process. So there's the one thing I want to go around the room, and I want you guys right now, if you guys are writing stuff down, grab the script that do you guys have your script with you?
No.
Because I'm doing my just sold script right now. Why am I doing my just sold script right now? Because the reality of stuff is that people want to know what's happening in their marketplace. I could call a buyer right now and I could convince them and I could do the whole pre-qual. But when I'm doing the just sold, the immediate conversation I'm having with these people are like, really? Properties are still selling? Like, they're not dropping in price? And I'm like, no, strangely enough, somebody came and paid top dollar for the property and they got a good deal. And that's when I open up that conversation. That's why I'm telling people it's very important for us to be finely tuned with our just sold script right now, because that's a conversation opener. You want to be able to tell somebody, hey, by the way, I just sold this house. You just sold a condo, right? On Hubbard Street?
Yeah.
You should call every condo owner there, because I'm sure there's some people that are thinking in their mind, this is going to collapse. I need to sell now. I would say the majority of the listings that I'm taking right now are people that are scared. And if they're scared, why not feed off that? Hey, if you're really scared about the market dropping, we should probably put that property for sale. How many of you guys like just phone calls from clients saying, hey, I want to do something? That requires a 10-touch approach every single time. But you can't just call on the 10-touch and just say whatever you want to. You need to be focused on your script. So use those strategies so that you guys can do them. And I would say, how many of you guys know that there's a script for center of influence? Have you guys read that script? I'm sure if the people that haven't, you guys should be making those conversations right now. One thing that I want to mention before we wrap this mastermind up is that tenant representation is going down the drain right now. I would say about 80% of tenants are defaulting on their rents right now. Guess what the owners are doing?
Trying to sell.
They're trying to sell and they're panicking. Because they're like, I've had like literally 15 conversations in the last week of people that are like, they haven't paid the rent. What am I going to do? How do I kick them out? And I'm like, you can't. You can't even bring up kick out right now. Because the thing is that the federal government is protecting the tenants. Let's just put the property on the market. Somebody will buy it with a tenant. But it has to be with a good price. And trust me, those calls are very important to you guys. I think you're going through an experience like with that right now. You have tenants in place and there's an issue, and did somebody offer on it?
Yeah,
you said there was an offer.
Yeah.
And is this a shitty market?
Yeah, for that type of house, yeah.
Right. And are people still buying?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
They're always gonna buy. I want to tell you guys something that's very strange. I've been waiting. I was hoping that this would be like 2008. I was like, let's go. This is the time. Let's get it. It's time for us to really, really start working with the people that want to buy. I just don't think that's going to happen because I see the consumer confidence and I'm like, how are people still willing to pay all this amount of money? But then I started to realize that it's in my mind. And tell me why this month is on track to be a record-breaking month. Does that make any sense to you? We just got to make sure that we move in the right direction. And if you are building a relationship, because I see you guys showing properties, I see Hiram and all that. Don't focus on 10 million clients. I get it. We all want to be the massive producers where everybody's closing deals. Focus on one transaction. Make those $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000. Put it in your pocket. Get some room to breathe. Make some financials. Do it all over again. But you're not going to reach that level of success unless you're willing to pay the price. And like I said, when I'm getting into my work clothing, I'm getting on my phone, on my voice recorder, and I'm playing my scripts. It takes me 18 minutes from start to finish to get ready, from the shower to when I get out the house. That's 18 valuable minutes of listening to my scripts. And I was having this conversation with my wife today too. She's all like, I'm going crazy. I'm getting super frustrated. And I'm like, what's the problem? She says, Nicholas has like 30 papers that need to get uploaded into the thing. I'm a teacher now, and I'm like, let's stop right there. Let's do 2 papers at a time. So you don't have to sit and do 10 hours of uploading documents. Just do 2. Wake up in the morning, and your routine is going to be grab 2 of his documents that he finished. You upload them, and that's the same structure that I'm telling you guys. Don't go crazy for doing 100 hours of scripts. You're not going to internalize them, and you're not going to know what you're saying. Just grab 15 minutes. You guys, I'm telling you, it's very interesting. Figure out, for the people that are watching, to figure out how long it takes you to get ready from start to finish. Is going to change the way you do business, because you're going to be like, it's going to take, like for me, it takes me 18 minutes from the minute that I get up from the bed, jump in the shower, the coffee's already ready to go, you press it, and it should take 18 minutes. Before, I didn't know that. So I was getting ready like at 8:10, thinking that I was going to be at the office at 8:30, and I'm like, it doesn't even take me 5 minutes to get ready. It takes me not 18 minutes to get ready. So what I'm saying is that with the scripts, be prepared for tomorrow. We are going to go over just sold scripts, and that's where we're going to internalize it. Just sold, and I need you guys to have it printed. I know a lot of you guys are barely easing into coming back into the office, but you guys could join us on the internet or join us on the computer. I'm going to be uploading these for you guys to use it. But the one thing I want you guys to do right now, it's going to be 9 a.m. Get into a 1 solid hour of prospecting. I guarantee you 80% of the people that are in this industry have already mentally checked out. They're still thinking like, this is taking a dive like this. And even if it is, doesn't that mean that all the people that only qualified for 450, I was dealing with so many customers that qualified for so little that I'm like, man, I can't even, I have to show them a condo or a house in the Antelope Valley. Wouldn't that just mean that that has just opened up a new avenue of income for me where I'm like, hey, the house has dropped so much, I can get you a $400,000 house in the Valley now. Let's submit an offer. Doesn't that make sense to you guys? But again, it's all about perspective. How do you see the market? How do you feel that the marketplace is going to go in the direction where it's for you? And again, I've been telling you guys, if you guys are scared of the market, then get into short sales. If you guys are scared of the market, then let's get into foreclosures. If you guys are scared of the market, let's figure out as a team how to get a REO account so the bank could give us the listings of the people versus stalling and saying, oh man, this market sucks, we're not going to get deals. And if you guys need somebody to rub off on you, just stick to me. I'm here every single day and see what I'm doing every single day. There's no secret sauce why so many, another listing's going to go up right now. They just took the pictures yesterday, and the guy's super motivated, and he's all like, the guy's selling, and he's buying, and he's getting qualified. So people are still moving. You guys got to make a conscious decision, and here's the challenge I'm going to give you guys for today. You guys need to really, really, really understand that whatever you do right now is what's going to affect what's going to happen for Christmas. I'm not trying to have a crappy Christmas. I'm not trying to be that person that I got to take everybody $10 gift cards because I'm so broke. Like, oh, here's a $10 gift card. I'll be quiet. You're lucky you got that. I want to go into the store and I want to be able to be like, that's for my mom. How much is it? 2 G's? Don't trip. That's for my wife. That's $3,500. I don't care. I want to be that person that has the ability to do that. But I'm not going to be able to do that if I'm just sitting back every single day and relaxing, thinking that those leads are going to call themselves. So if you guys are committed to the process, if you're struggling with leads, all you got to do is say, hey, Jesse, I don't have any leads. I know a lot of you guys are very independent. You can get your own leads, but if you don't have the leads, give me the confidence so I could turn up that lead volume and I could just share them with you. Does that make any sense?
Yep.
But anyway, let's get this day started. Yes.
Question: when our open houses are opening up? I read an article that May 7th you can start showing property, and May 15th we should.
Yeah. Okay. So great question. Edward is asking when can we start doing open houses? They have not officially announced that we could do open houses. They're saying May 15th might be able to lift the restrictions, but we are still waiting to see what's going to happen for phase 2. What I'm starting to do is that every time a buyer wants to go into a property, COVID-19 form gets sent out to them. And the reason I love that, if you paid attention to the Game Changer class, is because through the process of getting a customer, I try to make sure that they're signing as many documents as I possibly can, because the reality of stuff is that, have you guys ever been put in a situation where you have to sign something? Don't you kind of second guess it? Doesn't it kind of make you think, oh man, I gotta get committed to this? You know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna do it. So I love that part of the process because it shows the customer, hey, are you really gonna deal with me, or are you just saying? But fill out the COVID-19. As far as open houses, I think that I think by the beginning of next month we should be good to go. And again, Right now, why not practice your open house script if you're not doing it? Why practice the open house script once you get to it? I've been in open houses where I'm like in such a rush and I'm like, I even forgot what to tell the customer. Like, I'm so sweaty, I don't even care about it. But anyway, let's get out there. Let's get motivated. If you guys did not have the book, get the book Think and Grow Rich. I'm telling you, what I'm telling you about this book, this is the secret to success, the Think and Grow Rich. And I'm not the only guy that says that. You guys can YouTube a million people that are talking about Napoleon's Hill way of thinking. Does that make any sense to you guys?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Any more questions or let's get started?
Nah, you're amazing.
Oh,